Hello, and if this is the first time you've joined us, welcome to the Canting Club. This week we have an Italian red from Puglia, the region occupying the heel of Italy. This one is from North Puglia, from vineyards that lie just inland of the spur on the back of Italy's boot. It's made from the region's trademark grape, the Nero di Troia. It's got a medium ruby colour, lovely, quite intense nose, which features rich, ripe fruits, as well as sharp green herbs. It smells of dried black cherries and sage and tea leaves. And there's also a whiff of pungent spice, like licorice. Now that nose promised a really big, rich wine, but this isn't. This is medium-bodied and dry, and it's really elegant, with clean and definitely unoaked flavours of blackberries and licorice. There's crisp acidity and noticeable but silky tannins, giving it good food-friendly structure. That ripeness promised by the nose comes through on the finish, where flavours of sweet black currants join in. It's very satisfying. That sharp but ripe nose is very Italian, and it reminds me of a good Chianti. But this grape, the Nero di Troia, has its own distinctive scents and flavours that give this wine a real sense of place. And that place is northern Puglia. It's grown almost nowhere else. Indeed, the town of Troia, which gave its name to this grape, lies only 25 kilometres to the west of these vineyards, where Tenuta Fuggianera craft this wine. The vineyards here are some of the hottest in Italy. Temperatures in the summer regularly exceed 40 degrees, and the wines bake in the sun. But this is a grape that loves heat. It needs heat. It ripens so late that even here they pick it in the second half of October, long after all the other grape varieties. Other Puglian grapes like Negro Amaro and Primitivo can suffer from over-ripeness in these conditions, producing excessively alcoholic, low-acid wines. But not so the Nero di Troia. This wine is 13%, which is pretty standard for this grape in this region. Another benefit of not getting overripe is that it retains that fresh, food-friendly acidity. So, if this grape is so perfectly in tune with this region, why haven't you heard of it before? The answer to that is much the same as the one for the Carignan that we sampled a few weeks ago, another widely planted grape that doesn't appear on labels. This is a ferociously tannic grape, and if you grow it with a view to maximising its yields, as the peasant farmers in this traditionally very poor part of Italy always did, then it struggles to ripen even in this heat, and it ripens unevenly. So if you pick it all at once and throw your bunches in the vat, the unripe grapes give rise to excessive acidity and mouth-puckeringly hard green tannins. The traditional solution to this was to blend it. This wine was always blended usually with the fruity and softer Montepulciano grape. 20 years ago, there were only half a dozen unblended Nero di Troia wines produced here, and none of them were exported. But winemakers have since discovered that if you restrict the vine's yields and pick the grapes when they're ripe rather than all at once, then you can tame the tannins and allow this variety to really shine. And today, there are almost 100 pure Nero di Troia wines. I think this is a terrific example of how the best value wines are to be found from lesser known regions made by small producers who are championing their local grape varieties. This is cheap enough to drink as your everyday house red, but it's complex and interesting enough to keep you fascinated while you do so. Cheers.